Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Gay Racing Podcast. I'm Alex, and I'm with my best friend Zach. Zach, are you feeling okay? You look like you might have just finished crying.
Why
You
do you
you good?
ask? Is it because of my eyes?
Yeah, a little bit.
They are a little. Well, you see, Alex, someone on Twitter said that my tweets are stupid.
Crying towel out of the gate?
His
Wow.
favorite driver is Ross Chastain, and he said my tweets are stupid. I don't think I can
Oh
use
no.
Twitter anymore. I'm getting bullied.
You made the
I'm
Ross
so
Chastain
upset
fans
because
mad.
Kyle Larson wrecked yesterday and he still has the points lead.
Life's so hard.
Oh
But
my god, I don't know if I can muster up the energy to do
uh,
this podcast, Alex. Oh my god.
yeah, Zach's a bit sick and he's recovering from bullies on
Sick of
Twitter.
Twitter. That's what I'm sick of.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus. These people
But
are insane. Anyways,
But yeah,
I
welcome
don't
back
care.
to the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcast platform, hello, we're
Hi.
here. So, we're going to talk about the NASCAR race at Texas. There's a lot to talk about. Was it good? Was it bad? Were we entertained? Were we not? Chase Elliott won again. We're going to talk about Fox. We have to. I'm sorry, we've done it so much. We have to
But we
again.
have to. It's like we can't ignore
It's
it.
it's
It's not like
important. You have to talk about it.
every time a
Um
kid does something bad, you have to punish them. I'm sorry.
Exactly. We have some tea. There's some interesting tea. There was some
Yeah.
thirsty tweets in the NASCAR world this week. We'll talk about
What
that.
not by us.
Not
Not by us for once.
true. And then we're going to talk about fantasy. We have NASCAR at Talladega to talk about later, and IndyCar's back this weekend, Zach. They're back from their
Yay.
hibernation. Their death was greatly
It's been a
exaggerated.
quick month. Thermal really
Yeah,
was like a month ago. Oh my god, it doesn't feel like it.
yeah. But yeah, they're at Long Beach. That's on USA Network and Peacock this weekend. So if you're making plans, and also IMSA's back. We're not making fantasy picks for IMSA, but we'll talk about fantasy stuff later. Because Zach, we're going to talk about NASCAR at Texas.
Yeah.
Where do we start? Because for
I don't
me,
know.
this
What a
race
weird race. I mean,
right
sir,
right now, Zach, on Twitter, this race on Jeff Gluck's Good Race poll has a 74% yes,
I
which
think I voted yes, but I don't know if I did. I wasn't sure what to vote for it, you
so
know?
I voted no. But it's not
I
like I didn't like the race. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it's
a
not like
good
I
race,
was
though.
I had a lot of fun watching yesterday's race. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Yeah,
let me double check, but I think I voted yes just because I had fun. That's kind of like how I go. If I had fun watching it, I'll vote yes, right?
that's fair.
That's kind of,
Yeah,
and that's why I voted yes on a lot of races this year because I've just enjoyed NASCAR a lot this year. But
yeah,
I think it was an entertaining show. It's hard for me to sit here and be like, that was a good race.
exactly.
It wasn't that far off. And certainly, that was so much better than what we saw in Martinsville. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
probably say it was better than what we had at Richmond. Ish, kind of. It's a
Yeah,
little iffy. Maybe even better than what we had at Coda, but I mean, because you never knew who was going to win, right? It
right.
just, unfortunately, it kind of devolved into the typical, NASCAR restart, 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 restart. But it wasn't as much of like a trashy, wrecking all these cars like an
Right.
Xfinity Super Speedway race, for example.
But yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. You never really knew who was going to win, which that can be a good thing. But with this race, there were so many other circumstances that made it feel like there just wasn't a flow to this race. It just
Yeah.
kind of felt a little random. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like the random you get at a super speedway race. It's just more like a random, like, can you just not crash? Or, you know, and the broadcast didn't help. We'll talk about Fox later. It and it just the flow, there was just no flow to this race. I felt they only had like a besides like stage one, they feel like I think the longest green flag run later in the race is like 20-ish laps. And
Yeah.
it was just hard to get into,
Way too many cautions, in my
way too many
opinion.
cautions for a standard cookie cutter track. It I don't know. Was this the best post reconfiguration race at Texas? I'd say for Cup, yes. For Cup Series, I'd say it is.
Probably because those Gen 6 races, they didn't have much to really kind
Yeah.
of write home about.
So if now that goes to my next question here. Is Texas Motor Speedway actually bad? Because for me, this race was very entertaining, but it still wasn't good. But then you look at IndyCar and Xfinity. Xfinity had a really good race, it sounds like. I wasn't able to watch, but they had
It
a
was
photo
amazing.
finish with Ryan Sieg and Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer went on to win it. Pretty cool. But it sounds like from what I read on social media and from you, Zach, is that this race had a lot of passing.
Oh
They
yeah.
could actually make moves on each other,
I mean, it was a
which we haven't seen a lot
stock
of
car
Texas.
race. It was a good stock car race, and tires mattered as well. And
That's
you
big.
could get the guy loose if you were behind them. They could run a little bit up high. It was still, not you couldn't run the wall, obviously, but you could run that second or third lane
Yeah,
somewhat comfortably. And then, of course, we had that photo finish in Xfinity. In trucks, we had Corey Heim chasing down Kyle Busch, and there was a bit of aero blocking that kind of ruined like the end, but it was whatever. So I mean, it's not like you cannot sit here and be like Texas is one of the better mile and a half tracks or one of the better intermediate
yeah.
tracks on the schedule. But certainly the Xfinity cars showed, and they have been showing for a while here at Texas. Like, remember that finish with Gregson and Burton, like Gregson and Harrison
Mhm.
Burton? Like, you can still race on this track. It's not impossible to race on this track, right?
Right,
I mean, you know, it's just the standards in the cup cars. I feel like the standards have fallen so low. Or
for sure, and I think that's a big reason why people like this race so much, is that the expectations were just so low that for it to not just be absolute garbage helped a lot, and also the fact that the playoffs were not hanging over
that
this race.
helped
We
it
didn't
so
and
much.
this is the only date that we're going here. I think all those factors really helped.
Oh my god! Imagine if this was a playoff race. I don't think that'd be a good look.
Well,
Like,
and we had a playoff race that was just a kind of a mess like this before, and
it was literally,
everyone
yeah,
hated it.
the same number of cautions. I just looked it up. 16 cautions in 2022, right? And then last year we
That's
had
the
11
record, I
cautions
believe.
in this race, and then we matched the record yesterday with 16 cautions. So,
Yeah,
so this is just a thing with the next gen car here at Texas, and I don't know if I like it because, like, yes, we want these cars to be hard to handle, and this was kind of a debate all week, and it kind of connects to the Xfinity and truck races where it's like, yes, we want these cars to be hard to handle, and yes, we want guys to make mistakes and wreck, but like, do we really want these cars just like snapping every 5-10 laps just because they're
right.
trying to go up and make a pass or trying to go up and run somewhere different to get clean air on their car? It's one of those things where it's like I can see how us as fans enjoyed that race, but I almost don't. It's hard for me to have a legit opinion because I almost want to ask a driver, like, is this stupid? Is us
Right,
racing here still just stupid? Because can you guys even actually race? Because we want these guys to have options, and you can't sit here again and say that Texas Motor Speedway gives drivers options, enough options, maybe.
right.
Maybe in the Xfinity cars, sure. Because if you get a little bit loose, if you step over the edge and get up too high, you could probably correct it, right? It's not
Yeah,
just going to snap like the next gen car, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a driver, I'm gay.
right. And for me, it just they couldn't pass. That was a big
It was
part of Texas's problem yesterday. And we've seen that with this car, but not necessarily at the mile and a half tracks. It's kind of a unique thing to Texas with this car. I mean, to an extent, like of course you still have all the aero issues, but if this race were at Kansas, like we wouldn't be talking about aero problems unlike 2020, you know? And for example, Brad Keselowski seemed to have the best car toward the end of that race. He had the freshest tires. He could not get around second place. He could not get up there to go catch the leader. But then again, it didn't really matter because we had those cautions. But still, I think with if they could have passed at Texas, they had multiple grooves. This would have been a much better race. But that still brings me to a different point. The IndyCar races there,
oh my god.
they
Amazing.
were also bad for a while
Well,
because it's just a
yes.
single lane track. But then they tried out bringing in the top groove. They had dedicated practice sessions to really bringing in the top groove, and it worked, right?
Yes.
And you just had to be really ballsy to go up to that high lane to make passes, and that made it very entertaining. And we kind of saw that with the NASCAR race, but a very sloppy version of it. Because if you go up there, you're probably going to crash. And even like if you're not out of the groove,
Yeah.
some of them were still crashing
Well,
because of the bumps, and these car can't handle the bumps.
IndyCar doesn't have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in one of their cars, so
That's
literally,
that's
why is
very
he
true.
wrecking with 10 laps to go? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, good question, Zach. But my thing is, I feel like Texas, if it was more like the IndyCar race, and you had that unique kind of style, was one lane, but the outside was very risky, this would be more compelling. But it just wasn't. It's just not that because of the car. I think that's the
Yes.
problem. This car can't do it, and we saw the Xfinity car kind of
I mean,
can.
yes, like we might not even be able to sit here and explain exactly why. We do know that, Jimmy said it himself. You can't run this car loose because
Yeah.
there's no gray area, right? You can't just slide it.
Hmm.
It will just snap. And we have evidence. Xfinity, had a really good race yesterday. Like,
Hmm.
or the day before. So it's just like it is legit a thing with the next gen car. And yes, there were some guys making a lot of passes. We definitely saw more passing here than we saw at Martinsville, but those were mostly on, laps after the restart or
Yeah.
tire differences or what have you. Stage 1, which, admittedly that's the least amount of rubber that was on the track that whole race. Everyone was kind of riding around. It wasn't that very entertaining, but
Yeah.
it's just we talk about Texas and it's better once it has multiple grooves. I just sit here and it's just like how wide turn 1 and 2 is, right? And they just can't run half of it.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? It's so
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. I guess I can go into another question here. What should the future of Texas be? We've talked about that before. For
The
me,
conversation has shifted.
it has shifted. I'm still on the same team I was before this weekend, and that is basically copy and paste the Charlotte Roval, put it at Texas, let IndyCar run the oval still. I don't think that's an option, but that'd be like my best case scenario. Everyone's happy and they don't have to change too much. What I think's probably gonna happen is they're probably gonna do an Atlanta sort of thing, but we don't need that. We don't need
We
7 or
don't need
8
it.
super speedway races, I don't think. Even if Atlanta was really good, you don't guarantee you're going to have that at Texas as well. And also, we don't know what Atlanta's going to be like in 5 years. It could be something completely different.
Yeah, and Denny was talking about how basically the upper grooves of turn 1 and 2 are stained with that PJ1 and resin because they don't
Mhm.
apply it anymore, but it's still like there in the asphalt. And
Yeah.
I guess there's no way to like get it out, which just like I find that so amusing to me. And then in turn 3
Mhm.
and 4, there's that huge bump because SMI half-assed the paving job. And so where I'm kind of standing on this is just like, I want Texas, to be honest, to stay as an intermediate track. This used to be one of my favorite tracks in the series. I had good memories of watching, championship battles kind of like go on here, or just like dramatic moments like Jimmy Johnson versus Matt Kenseth in '07, Brad versus Jimmy in 2012, the
Jimmy and
2014
Gordon in
whole thing.
2011.
Yeah, like that. What? That was Atlanta.
Oh, that was Atlanta? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, I was gonna let you cook, but I'm like, wait a minute,
In my
wrong
head, that was
track.
Texas. That
Hey,
was
they're cookie
Atlanta.
cutter tracks. I can't blame you, but I love
My
Texas
bad.
Motor Speedway, or at least I really used to. It used to be one of my favorite tracks. I think
Yeah.
like all the
But
suites on turn 2 look cool. Big
mhm.
Hoss looks cool. It's a really cool facility, just from TV, right?
Yeah.
I want it to be a really cool mile-and-a-half racetrack that's an intermediate track, but
And I don't
like
know if it still does today, but it used to pay the second most behind the Daytona 500
it, yeah,
of all the
right.
tracks, and
And it had two
it felt like
500
more
mile
of a bigger
races.
deal.
It was a
Yeah.
big deal. Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool, right? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
for its time, I think it was probably one of the nicer NASCAR facilities. Now, apparently, there's a lot of kind of controversy. I mean, at the truck race Friday night, the turn 3 inside lights were just out. Like,
Oh, I saw about that, yeah.
yeah, which was like
But
kind of weird.
also, a lot of people who attend these races at Texas, they say the track just feels like it's stuck in the '90s. That's when it
Yeah,
opened, was in the '90s.
right.
It it needs a refresh, and it's probably coming at some point down the
It's just
line.
crazy.
So it's like, are they going to just give it a remodel for, like, the fan experience? Or are they gonna go all in and just still build all brand new? Is that even attainable? I don't know. But something I still think something needs to change at Texas. Like,
Yeah,
this
I
wasn't
don't.
a good race still. Like, it
Well,
was entertaining, but it wasn't good.
what
But at least we
track?
went through it twice.
What track has ever like reconfigured or repaved itself after it already did that 7 years prior? That's my thing, and that's what the one thing that's
Right.
probably keeping them from doing something because they just it's like they just did something to this track and now it's like they have to almost admit defeat that it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I mean, what other options do you have? It's either either make another Atlanta or go back to what you had before. And even however you repave it, you're probably going to have to repave it not like how SMI likes to repave their tracks, like actually get to the dirt,
Yeah.
fix the bumps.
Do
Um,
whatever they did to Kansas, because that track has aged
Progressive
gracefully.
banking, or maybe the answer is just I don't know. Do you have to repave? Just could you just repave the turns? I mean, at that point, it's kind of dumb, but like,
Yeah.
or I thought about like repaving the lanes where there's PJ1, so that's not. I don't know. It'd be so stupid. Whatever you do, I
Right.
don't
I
know.
don't know.
I'm gay. I
You're
do
gonna make
not.
the comments mad by saying you're gay all the
Oh God, they're
time.
already
You
mad
said
at me on Twitter. It's okay. That means we're just
well
getting popular. We're getting too popular, Alex. We have haters now.
well, the haters can keep hating.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about someone who doesn't have many haters apparently, is Chase Elliott. He did end up winning the race, NASCAR's most popular driver. He won for the first time in 42 races, 42
Yeah.
starts, I should say, for Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
He broke that winless streak. For me, this wasn't surprising by any means, because we've talked about it. He's someone who could win any week, and it was just we didn't feel confident for fantasy. We didn't feel confident in picking him. It was just like, is he actually there yet? Is he fully mentally in the right space? But this was the first time it really felt like Chase Elliott was how we're used to seeing him, like, at least a
Yeah.
few years ago. He'd be more and Kevin Harvick kept saying it on the broadcast, like, "Chase Elliott's driving really aggressive. We haven't seen this from him in a very long time," and it was really good to see. And, Zach, you posted on Twitter that that Chase Elliott winning is good for the sport. Would you like to elaborate on that?
It's just it's like the Dale Jr. effect where it's just everyone's not everyone because it's not the same as well, no, it's very similar because Dale Jr. had his haters back in the day. It just I like seeing all the Chase fans happy. He is our biggest star, right? He's our biggest star. It's important when our big stars win, especially when they haven't won in a while, right? Again, I mean, I remember I feel like the NASCAR community went crazy after Dale Jr. won at Michigan in 2012 to break that winless streak. Like
Mhm.
it's just something that's nice to see. The most popular driver breaks his winless streak. That's a big story. Whether
Mhm.
Chase Elliott, yes, he's boring. He is so boring. That interview he gave was so oh my god, so boring. Be a little bit excited, Chase. Like you
Yeah.
just won on an overtime restart. That it would make it a bigger story if he did. And we talked here on a few episodes ago, like, dude, Chase, he doesn't want to be this big star, and it's very obvious, and it's so frustrating for us. But it is a big deal,
Yeah.
whether he wants it to be a big deal or not. I just wish he wanted it to be a bigger deal. I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And that's another thing is just like, I don't know if this is actually a big thing for the sport because people don't know Chase Elliott like they knew Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr., Tony Stewart. Like he's not a household name like these
Well,
guys are in the
yeah.
2000s were.
I mean,
And like that's the case for all the NASCAR drivers right now,
yeah.
besides
For
maybe like
me,
Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. But
for me, it's not like great for NASCAR so that like they can show everyone how awesome the sport is. It's more like I feel like I
it
don't
gets
know.
the biggest fan base in the sport hyped back up.
It reminds me, yeah, and it reminds me of like when Chase won at Talladega in 22. Ooh. Remember when he won the Talladega Fall race, his last win before this one, and
Yeah.
that was after a streak of these horrible races, horrible controversies in the playoffs. Ironically, the week before was at Texas, right? Where
Mhm.
they had all those tire failures and stuff, and then Chase came and won the race, and it just kind of like solved all of our problems, and it was a good race. And then this week, we've been talking about the short track package for a whole month and tires, and it's just been kind of toxic in the NASCAR community. And there's
Mhm.
definitely some negative things to talk about with this Texas race, but Chase Elliott won. Hey, let's celebrate. He's back.
Right.
Chase is back. Good old boy, like
Yeah.
go Chase. Whatever.
I want to give a quick slay of the week to our friend Alyssa at G Whiz of the Stars. We had her as a guest last year. She's a big Chase Elliott fan. She was also a big Alan Kowicki fan. And her
Yeah.
first race she ever went to was at Texas. Um, Very happy for her because that is very cool. You're driving the Hooters car for Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
The slay of the week to Alyssa. Very, very happy for her with her big three in NASCAR kind of all happening at the same time.
That is
That's
cool.
pretty
That is
cool.
really cool. I'm not gonna
Uh,
lie.
and I and also shout out to Noah Sweet, Lefty Designs. You may know him as also former guest of the
Yeah.
pod. He designed the Hooters car, so that's pretty cool.
He's had other paint schemes win by now, right? Because he designs a lot of the Hendrick
He
ones, I
did
think.
the
Like the
white
Raptor
and
one.
black Raptor last year too,
And
I
that one
think.
a few times. Or at
Hmm.
least once. I don't remember where, but I think I won Vegas or something.
It
That's
definitely
cool.
won somewhere last year, but yeah,
I'm
shout
warming
out
up
to
to
him.
that Hooters car. I still like the more classic looking Alan Kowicki ones, but
Hmm.
I've warmed up to it.
Yeah, no, I just hope they keep it the same. Let
I
Chase
want them
kind
to
of build a
keep
brand with it.
I want them to keep it the same, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like stop
stop
changing
changing
it,
it every year.
please.
So let's move on. Denny Hamlin, he was your fantasy pick this week, Zach. He spun from the lead late. He ended up
I can
finishing
add this to
30th.
the list of every time I pick Denny for in fantasy, something happens that keeps him from winning when he should win the race. This is
Yep.
the third time this year that's happened, by the way. Like just this
Just as
year.
God intended. Yep.
At least the fourth time since the playoffs last year. I might be missing one. Like this is not even funny anymore.
So basically, in order for you to win fantasy and for Denny to win a championship, you just have to stop picking him in fantasy, right?
Apparently, I guess it's in both of our best
Did
interests.
did you pick him Homestead 2010? Did you do that?
I probably did. Yeah, actually,
You
yeah. I was
probably
like,
did.
Denny's gonna win this. I mean,
Oh
oh my
no.
god, that was a horrible day. That was a horrible day to be a
It's a
NASCAR
bad
fan. I'm
day.
sorry. That was horrible.
But we wanted to kind of ask a question here. Denny was just kind of going all out for the win here. And,
Yeah,
he wasn't the only guy who spun yesterday. But
on an overtime restart versus Chase Elliott.
yeah, he already has 2 wins on this season. Should Denny be more focused on the regular season championship rather than trying to build more wins? Because you get 15 points for winning the regular season championship. He's currently third in points. I mean, he would have got 5 more points if he won, and that would have helped toward that as well. But if he would have just, stayed top 5, top 10, he would have got more points than he
Well,
actually got.
and this is a thing. This is not just a Texas thing either. It's these last 2 weeks of at Martinsville. They make that really aggressive pit call to lose the track position of being in fourth to try to maybe win with fresh tires, and then that doesn't work. And
Right.
um, then yesterday on that restart, he's trying to hang it out on the outside, 50-50 chance that he's probably going to wreck. That's what he said. And he wrecks.
Mhm.
So going from second to 30th. And it's just like these last 2 weeks, they've given up a lot of points where, yes, sure, points don't matter, but they do matter. Right? When Denny, and yes, I know Denny's going for these playoff points, right? Like these 5 playoff points, but dude, you can't ignore the regular season playoff points either that you
Yeah.
get for, winning the regular season championship. And it's just something that this 11 team, I want to be a little critical of them right now to,
Well,
let's get these good finishes, these points, and you know, maybe at the end of the regular season when you have a really huge lead, then you can be really aggressive and do that stuff. But That's really easy for us to say. Because if he
Right.
gets a win yesterday, then, I mean, he looks amazing. He has the points lead.
Yep. Yeah. But and the other question is though, if he were the regular season champion last year, doesn't he advance to Phoenix? 'Cause I think he was only like less than 5 points behind Byron, right?
The
Or
last 2
am I misremembering?
years, he's been so close into getting the championship for, and it's been very weird circumstances that
Yeah.
have kept him from doing it, right?
And as you said here, like if it comes down to just a few points for the regular season championship, like look at Martinsville, he lost what 10, and then this week he lost 30 points. Just not even
Yeah.
talking about playoff points. Like they add up. That's already 40 points. That's a
I mean,
whole
he should be
race.
the points leader, and I mean, I look at the stats, he only has 3 top 10s, which is kinda crazy. Like,
That
when
is
everyone around
crazy.
him has 5 top 10s, 4 top 10s. Like, the only other guy who's, like, in the playoffs right now with 3 or less top 10s are Joey Logano, who's at the cut line, and then Daniel Suarez, who's right now winning you're in. So,
Yeah.
like, I would like to see more consistency out of the 11 team, especially when I pick them for fantasy.
Yeah. Saying something else Denny Hamlin probably wants to be more consistent, maybe consistently good instead of bad as they are.
Oh my
His
god.
team, 2311, their pit crews, they were bad again. Uh, Tyler Reddick, he finished fourth. I think at the end of the race, he probably had the best car.
He had one of the
But
fastest cars all day.
there was a pit stop that at the time could have determined the result of this race. He's leading by 5 seconds, 5 or 6 seconds ahead of Denny Hamlin. They do green flag pit stops. And there was a 5 second difference between pit stops of between Denny and Tyler. 5 seconds slower, the pit crew of the 45, that than the 11. That is crazy. Like that was like if there was no more
I mean, that's
cautions, that would have
bad.
determined the race. It was really
That
bad.
is really bad. Oh, well, it wouldn't. It yes, it could
Because
have determined the
Tyler
race.
did get back around him, but if you were watching Fox, you wouldn't have known that right away.
Yes,
But yeah, Tyler did get back around Denny. I would have,
he's lucky he got by Denny again.
he
I
did.
think Denny.
Really lucky.
I don't know why Denny did not defend that hard. I guess he thought he could pass by him, or maybe it was a. I don't know. Certainly,
I
it's
don't
not
know.
like a hey, I want my car to go win this race. I doubt it's that, but
Right.
I don't know. That was a weird. Denny did not defend that hard on a day where track position was pretty important,
Yep.
but that's unacceptable because blowing a 5 second lead like that for your driver,
Crazy.
like it's in the bag, dude, or it would have been in the bag, and that track position ended up mattering a lot because I think he got way shuffled out on the on that one restart where Chase took him 3 wide. I believe
Mhm.
Tyler fell back to I want to say he fell back. He lost a lot of spots today.
He
Like
did.
in that race from so many different things. He got out of the group so much. He's honestly lucky he didn't wreck. I think
Yeah.
Ross pushed him out in the in stage 2. Oh wait, I forgot. Ross doesn't do anything wrong. Forgot. Sorry. Didn't mean to bring
Well,
that up.
should we talk about Ross? Are we ready to move on
I don't
to
think we're allowed to. He's perfect.
well,
He said sorry for everything he ever did, so I
and he
don't think it
cried
matters
and he was
anymore.
nearly crying in his interviews. So
Yeah.
let's talk about it. I'm gonna allow it, Zach. It's okay. So Zach, you posted a tweet that said Ross Chastain had this coming to him. He can't really be mad at William Byron for that last lap contact that sent Ross around and brought out the last caution. And people, in my opinion, really misinterpreted what
They
he was saying.
overreacted, to be
It was a
honest.
huge overreaction. It
Like
was not a big deal.
I will concede that literally no, he can be mad.
Yeah.
I concede that. Sure, he can be mad, but let's be BFFR. Let's be for real right now. Um
Mhm.
if I'm William Byron, am I going to completely just screw up my whole run off the corner because Ross Chastain's in my way? Someone who we know how Ross Chastain races people. There's an entire 50-minute compilation on YouTube of how he has like been an a-hole against other drivers on the track in the top 3 series.
Mhm.
Like you can't really blame Byron for not taking care of Ross right there. Do you, like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And for
But
Ross
and
to
it's
finally for once get dumped when
mhm.
it wasn't really his fault, like Oh, is this your first time? Because you've done this to like 30 people.
Right. And if the roles were reversed, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm just racing really hard. I didn't mean to do it, blah blah blah." And that's basically what Byron said too. We'll talk about that in a second. But like Chastain's only gotten paid back once, right? Like Gateway was kind of weird when
Like
Hamlin was like
intentional
keeping way down,
payback.
but it was
Yes.
Pocono. When we
Yeah.
you and I were in the car coming
Pocono.
back from IndyCar at Iowa, we were listening to the radio, but Chastain got put into wall by Denny basically.
I mean, it was all
And
Denny stuff, like the Pocono thing, the Phoenix thing, and then Denny came out on the wrong side of all of those incidents, anyways.
right.
So it's like
But
he's never truly gotten karma, if you believe in
exactly.
that.
And he got it. Like I do I
That's
think
karma.
William Byron intentionally spun Ross
No,
Chastain
he
out?
didn't. I know
No.
for a fact he
No.
didn't. That's
And it's
not what I
all
said, and that's not what I'm saying to anyone
I
who's
know,
like,
but a lot of people
yeah,
took your tweet as you saying that. William
as
Byron just
yes,
dumped
because
him to get
they have
payback,
zero
and
reading comprehension.
people were like, "What payback? What did Chastain do to Byron?" It's like, "No, just in general."
Yes.
Chastain has
Like, are you new to NASCAR? Did you join from the Netflix documentary? Like, is that
and
what's
that's okay
happening
if you
right now?
did, but do you
That's
not
okay, but
understand the
like, don't come up
lore?
into my replies trying to call me slurs and stuff either. Like,
Yeah.
I just like I'm so sick of it. Like, no one can have an opinion anymore. I'm kind of fired up about it, actually. I'm not too
So,
like I don't normally let that stuff get to me, but like, come on, do better.
like, people just intentionally, it feels like, took your tweet out of context and just
It's
I
all
don't know.
these I think what makes me mad about it is it's all these kids, or as Mike oh my god, the keyboard warriors. It's the keyboard warriors. Mike Joy, I get you. I feel you, man.
Oh, no. So, I wanna talk about what actually happened here. I think off of turn 2, Ross just got high, which we've seen several times. He
You
just got
mean
way too
Ross
high in
Chastain
turn
made a
2.
mistake?
Yes, he did, and he lost all of his momentum, and then Byron just basically got into the back of him, and it sent Ross around. Like, it's just a that's a very common incident, like, we've seen it many times before in the
Mhm.
past, and it's the last lap of the race. William Byron wants to try and win the race. Like, you don't Chase Elliott coulda crashed in turn 3 and 4. We've seen how many people crash in 4, right? So
Yeah,
you wanna make sure you're in position in case Chase crashes to be there, and you wanna
yeah.
finish the best as you can.
And
So
certainly
I don't blame Byron.
when you
No.
see Chastain wash up and make the mistake like that, it's like seeing blood in the water. Like you're gonna drive really hard off that corner to get a run on him, you know?
Yep,
So I mean,
exactly.
it's a racing deal, but again, it's just one of those things where it's like you can't sit here and be like, "Oh no, that's so sad for Chastain." Oh, you can't. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. You can't sit here unless you're a Ross Chastain fan. I don't think you can sit here and be like, "That's so sad."
because like, we were talking in 2022, like, "Yo, he's probably gonna get so much payback during the playoffs, people are gonna make his life so hard," then none of that happened, right? People just he made it
It's
all
the
the championship 4 that year, right? And
yeah, it's the subtle things
like,
where,
now, if is this actual payback? No, but it's like, he got something that was coming to him from for a very long time. Like,
yeah.
is it over? Probably not. Like, he probably deserves more than that, but it's
I'm
just like,
I'm
whatever.
pulling this out of my butt, but it's
Uh-huh.
like Byron subconsciously raced him differently than he would most drivers in that corner.
Yep.
Like, because it's Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
Like, you see him and it's like you're seeing red. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get this guy because he
Right.
deserves it.
Because 'Cause I'm
He
sure
not to wreck
Chastain's
him, not to wreck him, but like Byron drives it out of the corner harder, just a
'cause I'm
little
sure
bit harder.
Chastain has raced Byron very rough in the past, like he has
He's
everyone
every
else.
person in the
So,
field. I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. So, well, let's talk about everyone's favorite segment of the week, Fox Sports. So, we're not gonna take too long here. We're gonna try getting through this and moving on, being happy, leaving with a smile on our face.
Oh my god, but it's
So,
bad. Like,
we're gonna kick it off. Flop of the week to Fox Sports. They saw my rant about thermal and were like, "Flop of the year nominee already? We want in on that." Well, this is a great performance by Fox here to try and get in on that.
they have been going so
Fans,
downhill.
fans deserve better than Fox Sports. This was unacceptable. We've said that time and time again. I've actually been an enjoyer of Fox this year.
Remember
In that,
Daytona? We were talking a
yeah,
lot of good stuff about them. I remember.
like Fox has actually been putting on probably their best season, like, at least in the booth, since, like, when Gordon and maybe DW was still there, and, like,
Oh,
even Gordon DW was kind of rough, you know? But, like, it's been a long time since they've had a kind of a decent season. The production has still been disastrous. This was Fox's production's worst maybe ever, by the way. They missed so many things. They just kept cutting, and then they were hyping up pit stops.
oh
Fox
my
was in
god.
commercial when pit stops happening. That one pissed me off. Larson lost that tire. It happened under commercial. They come back, and the booth is
Dude,
so monotone about it. Did not make
eh,
Larson was dominating this race. Probably was the favorite, and they just have no reaction.
like, that's a big deal. That is a huge that's like if Verstappen
If
has an issue in an F1 race. It's a huge deal.
If this race was on NBC, they would come back from commercial and Rick Allen would be yelling the second they come back. And Kyle Larson has lost a tire. And then they
Yeah.
go to Steve Letarte and they break down why this could have happened. And then they just replay everything. They go through all the scenarios and they're like, now this is where we are. And this is why everything changes. They would have given you the groundwork for everything. Fox just acts like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And you also look at the pit cycles. They missed the Reddick Hamlin pass because they were following whoever was in first at the time because they don't understand pit strategy.
I like how someone on Twitter yesterday said that NASCAR on Fox is like when your non-racing friend watches racing and they just fixate on who's first.
Yeah, pretty much. And I made a tweet that was like, if IndyCar goes to Fox, and they should not, I disaster if they do that. IndyCar's a lot more pit strategy than NASCAR does.
Oh my
Fox
god.
production, they're gonna be watching whoever's in first because they're going long on a run. And then Connor Daly and Jamie Little in the booth are going to be talking about how hot Joseph Newgarden is. Meanwhile, Scott McLaughlin just got by Alex Palou in the blend, and they miss it. They don't even talk about it. That's what Fox on IndyCar on Fox will be like if that happens. And it's going to be like, are we kidding? Like, yeah, Joseph's hot, Jamie Little and Connor Daly, but also
This is a big deal.
we're it's a big
Yeah.
deal. We're talking about a race, and you're not
Because
focused on the
I
thing.
thought I missed when Reddick passed Hamlin. Because I think I was like, I don't know if I went to the bathroom and I got back from commercial a little bit
I
late. I thought I missed it and I was so mad, but no, Fox missed it.
You know how I found out? Because Jeff Gluck tweeted about it. I got most of my
Dude,
understanding of this race through Jeff Gluck's Twitter feed.
Jeff Gluck, honestly, instead of Mike Joy and Clinton Boyer, they should just have an AI read out Jeff Gluck's tweets
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
at this point.
It'd be better.
Like, I swear, every single incident happened during commercial. The commercials felt really bad yesterday, which
Awful
doesn't make
timing.
sense because it was
And
on FS1, and I feel like normally there's less commercials on
you're
FS1.
right. There were more commercials, it felt like, too. I don't
Yesterday,
know
yeah.
why.
They
And it
definitely
yeah,
got well, to be fair, they got a lot of them out of the way early because there were like no commercials during all of those cautions at the end, which part of me is just
yeah,
like, you this would have been a nice time to have some commercials. I'm just saying.
yeah. And also another thing, Fox also missed Ryan Blaney's spin, what caused it, and they didn't elaborate on how that happened. If you watch on only Fox, you probably think Blaney just spun out on his own. No. NASCAR socials, they posted an onboard camera, which Fox has access to, by the way. Every single car has an onboard camera
I have
nowadays.
access to it on
Yeah,
NASCAR.com. I
you
can
have
see it
access to
too.
it. All
Like,
of you
yeah,
listening or watching have access to this. It's all on their website.
it's pretty cool.
But NASCAR socials post a replay. Priest got into Blaney and it sent Blaney around. Fox could spend 10 seconds showing that replay and just being like, oh, it looks like Ryan Priest got into him and that's what caused that. Nothing. Fox didn't show anything. There is so little care from Fox Sports about anything NASCAR, a and that's why I keep bringing up IndyCar, because if they sign with IndyCar, it is a disaster. It Because we're gonna be on Fox Sports 2 with IndyCar probably for a lot of races, and they're gonna treat it like absolute garbage just so they have the Indy 500. But I digress. Flop of the week, Fox Sports.
Well,
You wanted to talk about one other thing with
what
Fox.
well, two things. I just remembered one thing from when
Mhm.
watching God. I want to recommend people to watch Xfinity and trucks so bad. You know what? The Xfinity booth with what this week it was Adam. It was Adam Alexander with Ross Chastain and Joey Logano. It was actually kind of funny. Joey and Ross are kind of funny together because, like, obviously they're the two, most aggressive guys in the sport. So they're
Yeah.
making jokes at each other. It was actually pretty good. They did a decent job. It's whatever. I can't sit here and recommend someone to watch the truck racing. And
No.
it's not because of
No.
the racing, because the racing is actually getting really good this year, or at least like watchable. It's watchable. The truck racing is watchable. The broadcast is not watchable. I
Right.
feel like everything Jamie Little says, I have to fact check, and she's often wrong.
Yeah.
Like
What'd you have to fact check her on this week? You
it was
texted
the
me about it. I
TV. I
wasn't
mean, it
watching.
wasn't that big of a deal, but I think this week the one thing I remember was the TV thing where she said Big Hoss was the first one to do the big TV. No, it
Oh,
was
that.
Charlotte.
It was
Which
Charlotte.
that's not
Yeah.
a big deal, but I think there was multiple things in the race where it's the point where it's like when she says a nugget, I can't trust her on it. It might have been something about Kyle Busch's like win total here at Texas, which ended up being
Yeah.
true. But again, I don't have trust in you, Jamie. So I'm like, do I have
But
to fact check this?
in
You know?
defense of Jamie, all the info that she's saying, she gets fed from the producers. They give her that information, and maybe she misreads
Yes.
it or whatever too. But it's like, I bet the TV one, that was probably something that the producers gave her, right? And
Yes.
she just says it.
But then there's also
So and
moments where she
that's a
says
Fox
this
thing.
card looks like a Ken Block
Yeah,
throwback
and
last week
that's
at
her.
Martinsville. So
Yeah.
it's like again, it's just, and I'm not even trying to harp on Jamie because I can go on about Michael Waltrip for an hour. Man, this guy in 20 seconds having a great run today.
And it's always the same guy. I don't even
It's
like Daniel
always the same
Dye. He's always
guy.
talking about Daniel Dye.
Yeah. Michael is so annoying. Phil Parsons is the only guy it's the point where I miss Vince Welch. But so it's just like trucks have
Crazy.
this weird dilemma. And then the one last thing about NASCAR on Fox with the cup races, that little game with Harvick where he has a word of the week and stuff? I'm over it.
Mhm.
It's bad. It's not even funny anymore. And it's not because it got old. It's because, well, the phrases aren't as funny anymore. Like last week, the word was salty.
Yeah.
Girl, I haven't used that in 10 years. What?
My theory on this is that he started it as a joke, but then like people caught on to it, so he's trying to do it every week and it's not as good. Like it doesn't feel as natural as it did the first few
No,
weeks. I think
I,
that's the
I don't buy
problem.
that excuse because there are so many. Again, he ate that up, right?
Yeah.
You know what? What he said yesterday was actually really funny, except he didn't use it right at all. He said, I don't even know. It was about the lap times. It's like, man, he's running lap times really good right now. I mean, he really wants that smoke.
Oh,
What?
that's bad.
That's not how you use that, Kevin.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No. Because everything else he was saying, he was using right. Like, he's got that dog in him. That was funny. It was good.
Yeah.
Now,
But
when I think of Kyle Larson or Chris Gabehart, whoever, yeah, he's got that dog in him.
mhm. But I will say that is such a minuscule thing with Fox. I did enjoy it. Now it's just like whatever. But in defense of Kevin Harvick, he is like the best person Fox Sports has right now, at least in the booth. Current booth. It should be Jamie McMurray alongside him instead of the other guy who just is incoherent.
Clint
But
Boyer really should just be like either
be
like a
fired.
pre-show. Literally, wait, Jamie and Clint could switch. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. That would actually solve so many problems. My favorite part, and I posted about it on Twitter too, was like, okay, now let's go to our Charlotte studio to get actual analysis from Jamie McMurray. And you get actual coherent thoughts
Yeah.
for a minute, then you go back to Boyer, who's just rambling
Or
about something. It's bad,
because
but
Clint would be perfect for like a NASCAR. He's like Kenny Wallace. He'd be perfect for like a NASCAR race day type of like
yes,
pre-show hyping people up. Like that would be a perfect job for him. Put him with like, I don't
yes,
know, literally Kenny Wallace himself. Why not?
yeah, yeah. I, you said I don't have anything else to add on that, but yeah, flop of the
No.
week to Fox. Let's shift into the T, your actual favorite
Our
segment
actual
on the Gay
team.
Racing Podcast.
We're gonna get
Um,
teacup soon, I promise.
yeah,
I don't know how
it's
soon,
a
but
it's a idea we got. Some of y'all have suggested that.
it is a good idea.
First thing here, the CW.
Whoa.
You all know that they are gonna do the Xfinity Series the entire season next year. Well, that is starting a little early. They're gonna do the final 8 races, the Bristol, which is the regular season finale for Xfinity, and then the playoff races. They're doing that this year, taking them away from NBC. However, NBC, they will be producing and commentating these races. So it's basically an NBC broadcast, but aired on the CW.
Yeah.
He's for this year. Next year will be different. What's interesting about this is Rick Allen was previously reported. This has never been official yet, I don't believe. Was previously reported to shift to just the Xfinity series after the Olympics conclude, and Lee Diffie is going to come in and replace him in the Cup Series. And what another interesting thing about this is that NBC they signed a contract to get college football for this fall. So they're likely clearing up their schedule uh, a year early as they're losing the Xfinity series next year. And I guess that makes sense. I'm assuming there's money involved. There almost has to be. Like maybe the CW paid up and was like, "Hey, we'll take those from you," or maybe NBC approached the CW. I don't know what happened, but NASCAR is cool with it. That's gonna happen. And I know it's gonna happen. People are like, "Oh my gosh, the CW is amazing." It's like it's just NBC.
It's
Like
NBC.
I bet the graphics are all NBC. Everything's gonna be NBC still.
Yeah.
Like, don't get too excited. But it's a soft launch. We'll call it that. It's a soft launch for NASCAR and the CW's relationship.
Yeah. The thing about the college football in their schedule, that makes a lot of sense. Because
Mhm.
at first I'm like, why are they gonna do this? But then when it's like, well, remember, they don't even have a sports network, right?
Yep.
Like there is no NBC Sports Network. USA Network is not a sports network. It's as Law and Order. Like what? It's so weird to have a
Yeah.
race on that channel. So it's like, yeah, this makes sense. It checks out. It's a good move, I think, and it'll be cool to see what the ratings are like and
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it's going to be there next year, so you might as well start early. Why not? There's no harm in it.
Yeah.
So
And just a reminder, the CW, literally everyone has access to it.
yeah,
It is you don't need a cable package. You don't need
yeah.
streaming.
Here
If
it's
you
channel
don't have
50. In,
if you
in
don't
DC,
have
it's DCW 50.
if you don't have an antenna or whatever, they also have an app that's
The hell
free.
did you? What the hell did you just say?
What?
Antenna?
Yeah. What?
What? Did y'all hear that too? Antenna?
What do you say?
Antenna.
Antenna. I don't know. Whatever. So,
Where the hell are you from, Iowa?
yeah. Anyway,
Girl.
that's how I've
Antenna?
always said it.
Hannah
Anyway.
Antenna.
Anyway, if you don't have one of those, you can go to the CW app. You can still watch on the
Oh, that made
Xfinity
my head
series
hurt.
there next year and later this year. Zach's already laughing, and we haven't even gotten to the funny part
You
of
are.
the tea.
Oh my
So,
god, I'm losing my eyesight. That was so funny.
well, you
I'm
might want to
blind.
lose your eyesight with this topic, says Brad Keselowski posted a picture of him all bent over trying to talk to Chris Buescher. Uh,
Ah,
our fr- our friend Brooke Curran said it's like when the teacher is helping the student next to you.
I didn't see that.
That made me
That's
laugh
really
really hard the
funny.
other day. Um, so the internet got really thirsty over this. Even Brad himself said
Not
everyone was
us.
pretty thirsty.
Not
Not
us. Did you
us.
see
I didn't
me
say
talking
anything.
about Brad's ass? No, because
No.
he's old. It's not what y'all think it is.
So, Colleague Racing, of all people, their social media admin, they posted a picture of Godzilla's ass, like a huge ass. It was kind of
Cheeks.
bizarre.
Cheeks for
Ass
days.
cheeks. Like it was crazy. Um, Kind of bizarre. Anyway, and we want to ask, why are you all obsessed with Brad Keselowski's ass and not Denny Hamlin's? Because
His old
Denny is
man
right
ass, by
there.
the way. His old man ass. Because he's old. He's old. I mean, when we got Denny Hamlin's cake, we got Joey Logano, William Byron, especially in those white fire suits. We got Sammy Smith. We got even Noah Gregson. We
For the
got what's
record, you keep calling Brad old. He is younger than Denny Hamlin. But
okay, but you know the difference, right? Like,
oh,
because look
I
at
do.
Denny, look at Denny, and then look at Brad.
Yeah.
Let's be again BFFR. Let's be for real
Yeah.
here. Um, then we got who else? There's probably someone really big I'm missing, right? Why
There's
aren't we
a lot.
talking? If we're gonna be thirsty on Twitter, on at Colleague Racing, we need to be thirsty about the right people because y'all are stepping on our culture, right? You're appropriating our culture.
The pride flag.
I mean,
Hmm.
they don't know what it's truly like to appreciate a race car driver's ass.
Period.
And
Yeah.
I think, picking Brad Keselowski to be your
So
leader
stupid.
for this movement is so disrespectful. Like Denny's actually winning races. What's Brad doing? I mean, Chris Buescher's kind of a thick boy too. Just look across the shop. Like, come on, man. Oh my gosh. Don't get me started on Alex Bowman. Like, what are we doing?
We should move on to fantasy before Zach gets us in trouble here. So, Gay Racing Podcast Fantasy. I got the point. I had Bubba Wallace, who finished 7th. Zach, you had Denny Hamlin, who finished 30th. We talked about that earlier, but would you like to talk about it?
I feel good about it because he still ran good all day. So it's like, you know what? I made a good pick. He just made a mistake. It happens. It's not something that I should be like, man, what did I do wrong here? I picked the right guy to win. It's just he made a mistake. So I've
Right.
been making really good picks. I've been having a good month of fantasy, and I do believe I'm going to win this championship this year. In NASCAR,
Okay.
IndyCar, I'm still unsure on.
Right.
I don't know. I need to get some momentum first before I'm able to say anything. But yeah, I mean NASCAR at Talladega, IndyCar at Long Beach. I'm ready. I feel confident.
I'm ready.
So let me go ahead and pull up our. I forgot we're doing this. Pull up our fantasy pick document. We're gonna find a picture of who we want, and then of
Yep.
course
I already
um
got a picture copied.
we're
I'm
doing
ready to
NASCAR
go.
first, right?
Yes.
All right. Give me a few seconds because I just had to pull that up. All right, I found my picture. My eyesight's going again. Sorry, my eyes are so messed up today. I think one of them does actually kind of hurt.
Like, what'd you
And,
do? Cry too much?
well,
Get
yeah, and
dirt in them?
apparently screen time doesn't help, so I'm like kind of dying
Yeah,
right
that
now, but it'll
doesn't.
be all right.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready,
All
Alex?
right. I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Control V,
Oh,
and
it's loading.
okay, so
There.
we both picked Ryan Blaney, which checks out.
All
How
right.
many wins does he have at Talladega? By the way, it's like a
Several?
stupid amount. It's at least 3. It might be 4. Like it's a stupid amount of wins.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a lot.
I kind of figured that you were gonna pick him, but I also did. He does consistently finish up front at these races.
He
Like
does.
it's kind of crazy. All right, so let me get my second pick, which I already had prepared because I'm locked in.
Yeah, Zach told me before we recorded that I had to lock in or I'm
Well,
going to
you were
lose.
talking so much trash on Twitter, like I didn't just beat you for 3 straight weeks. Like, show some respect, man. Like, you were
I
crazy. Are you ready?
I just like giving you a hard time.
I know
Okay.
you like giving me a hard time. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
All right.
I'm trying to pick Chase Elliott, and
I
Alex is
put
going to pick
Dennis.
Denny Hamlin. All right, I feel good about this. I don't think Denny's gonna get shuffled out because he lost his teammates, so I'm not really.
But that's if you pick him though. I picked him.
No, like that happens to Toyota every single. When was the last time Toyota won a super speedway race?
It's probably been a while. I don't
It's been a
remember.
while, dude. So you have fun. Again, you need to lock in, Alex.
I'm locked
What
in.
is this? I expect better.
I'm not gonna pick Brad Keselowski's. I've done that so many
Oh no,
times
that
and it
would have
never
been worse.
happens. Yeah,
That would have been
I-
worse. But
that's
also,
probably what I would have done a year ago, and I still won the
yes.
championship.
I mean, there's one thing being consistent, but I don't know if Denny's even consistent at plate tracks right now. He's just been so like I feel like he does get up there, but then it's just like he never has help. I don't know. It's weird. Chase
He's
has
gonna
been
be
really
up
good
there
at
at the end.
Chase has been really good at Talladega lately, and the Chevrolets have been really like good with their pit strategy. I've
Yeah,
noticed, so I feel good about that. Like he's been really good at Talladega. Like I didn't like
yeah.
I only picked him based off stats because I'm like, oh, he has finished really good here. Okay, good track for him. Whatever.
And I will also say, if you want like a dark horse, not maybe a dark horse. I think everyone knows he's good there now.
You're
But
about to say
Michael
Joey
McDowell,
Logano. Oh. Thought you was
Michael
gonna say Joey
McDowell,
Logano as a dark
I
horse.
think is someone who could win any one of these super speedway races. Another one you could say is even Todd Gilliland, his teammate, because Todd led a couple laps in Daytona 500. It's gonna be interesting, and it, I wouldn't rule out the Childress cars either. They're kind of weird though right
Well,
now.
really,
But
honestly,
super speedway,
anyone
anyone,
can win this race. It's just crazy. I mean, I think super speedway racing, especially Daytona, it's getting a little bit too crazy for my liking right now.
yeah.
But we'll see how this
Um,
race is.
Shane Van Gisbergen will be in the Cup race, by the way.
I
He is
hope
full
he
time
wins.
Xfinity, but that'd be cool.
I
That'd
think
be
it'd be
really
dumb.
cool.
It'd be dumb. No, it'd be dumb, but it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Um, I have
All
to
right.
say, I know we got to move on to IndyCar, but actually, oh, it's like, is Ford actually going to like finally get their first win of the year, or does a Chevrolet or does a Hendrick or Gibbs car win again? Like that's what I'm wondering.
Right.
Yeah.
I I don't know. It's gonna be very, very interesting. Are we ready to make IndyCar at Long Beach predictions?
Give me a few seconds because I'm pulling up my pick. This is a
Okay.
this is a decent picture. All right, I'm ready. Are you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I'm trying to pick
It's
Alex
loading.
Palou, and that is definitely a picture of Joseph Newgarden.
That is Joseph Newgarden.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm staring at the pumpkin.
Mm. Definitely the pumpkin.
Bro, you could have been like, so what was Joseph holding? And I would have been like, I have no idea. Like, what color was the pumpkin? And I'm gonna say, pink. I don't know. um, I looked. Pelot has like a streak of top 5 finishes at Long Beach, so I'm like, all right. I know I've picked him every single race so far this year,
Is
and I'm
that
not
just your
trying to.
strategy?
I
Just
promise
hello?
you it's not, and I was gonna change it up this week, and then I'm looking at who's the best right now at Long Beach, and I'm just like, dude, it's Pelot, and it's like I feel like he's due to win this race.
Mm.
You know, he's been up there contending, and I think it'd be a pretty big deal. I would say, of course, that he hasn't won the Indy 500 yet, but it's the biggest. You know, it's another big race that
Mhm.
he hasn't won yet.
Yeah.
So you
I'm
think
going with
Joseph?
I'm going with Joseph because he's locked in. Like that St. Pete drive was kind of remarkable. It showed that he is back, I think, in full terms. Like Joseph is back on the road and street courses, and I don't see that slowing down. I know Pillow won at Thermal, but Joseph is probably thinking, I'm not going to try prepping for a useless race. I'm going to be
Yes.
staying focused
No.
on Long Beach.
Yes.
Pillow probably prepped more for Thermal. So in my mind, Joseph's probably more prepared for Long Beach if my theory's right. But he's also got to qualify good. He's got to keep that up.
Well, I wouldn't say that Alex is not prepped for
No, I know.
or
I was
yeah,
gonna,
I
I
don't
know.
know. It's
Pillow still can
weird.
be really good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he will. Well, hey, we picked two. I mean, powerhouses right here,
he
and
did.
you know, I'm kind of I had the Andretti cars kind of lined up after Pelot because
Yeah.
Andretti has won like a lot of the. I think it was 3 of the last 4 Long Beach Grand Prix, and watch them this weekend because
Colton Herta could absolutely go out there and lead every single lap, but he could
Ky-
also crash.
Kyle
Kyle
Kirkwood won
Kirkwood
this
won
last
this
year.
last year. Yep.
Marcus Ericsson's been really good on the street courses lately. Again, that was with Ganassi, but Andretti was really all 3 cars were really fast in this race last year, so it's something we have to watch for sure
Hmm.
as I figure out how to stop sharing that. Okay, there we go. But yeah, well, I feel good about the picks.
Yeah. Long
All
Beach.
right.
That's gonna be fun. Again, it's on USA. It's also on Peacock if you have Peacock. IMSA is also at Long Beach. Be sure to check that. I believe that's on NBC. The whole thing will be on Peacock. So, um, yeah. So Zach, we've reached the end of another episode of the Gay Racing Podcast. Uh, Normally, whoever loses fantasy has to read our little Apple review, but I'll do it this week
Yeah,
just
I'm
because
dying here.
I want you to take care of yourself.
Oh yeah.
So We don't have an Apple review, but we had a very nice YouTube comment that I would like to highlight.
Yeah,
So
it was.
actually, we're changing it up. If you leave a nice comment on YouTube, we will read it. We'll
Yeah.
start doing that.
Not like
So
a love you like you guys are cool. Like no, like put some soul into it like this guy did.
yeah. So yeah, this is from JG Cars on YouTube. I listen on Spotify and YouTube, so I can't leave an Apple Podcast review. But I discovered you guys on TikTok, and I haven't stopped watching since. Because of y'all, I'm seeing my first race in October for my birthday at Charlotte. I can't wait. Keep the great work of being authentically yourselves and loving what you love and inspiring others to do the same. I love
I
that
mean,
message so much.
they're going to a NASCAR race. Like that is so cool. They're going to a
Yeah,
NASCAR race because of us.
it's
Like
so
that is
cool.
great, and that's not an exaggeration. That's literally what they said. Like
That's what they said. Thank you so
that
much.
fills my cup. That fills my cup.
Yeah, like that's
That
awesome.
fills my cup.
So if you have thoughts that you'd like to share with us like that, either 5-star review on Apple written, do it like that, or you can leave a nice comment like that and we'll mention it. Really, really appreciate that. We get messages like that pretty often. I don't think anyone's ever said that they're attending a race because of us. That's really,
That's
really
a big
cool.
deal.
So have a
Yeah,
lot of fun at the Roval later this year. That's amazing.
it's a good one. It's a good one to go
Yeah.
to. Well,
Um,
maybe not. I don't know.
I like the Roval. I think
Go
it's
to
a
the
road
600.
course.
Can you move your birthday up like a few months? And
But
it's still
yeah,
a cool
uh,
track.
it is a cool track. I think being able to see a road course from the just from your seat is very cool and unique. I like the
It's the
idea.
best road course in terms of being a spectator.
Yeah, definitely. So you can also leave a 5-star review on Spotify. You can also support us on Patreon. If you didn't catch last week, we have a all, or you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on podcasts. We have a whole new thing with we're using Restream and we're paying for it. So your Patreon support is funding this. So my audio sounds a lot better. We have much better video.
Very better. I love
I
that.
know, very
Antenna.
better.
Antenna.
I've always said antenna. Get over it.
You
So
are so Midwestern. I love it.
anyway, if you'd like to keep supporting the podcast, what we do, we're using that money right back toward this. You're also going to feed us an indie, but
I mean, we gotta eat.
yeah, we got to eat, guys. We're growing boys. We're in our mid 20s. we, yeah.
Yeah, we're
So thank
growing the
you.
podcast. So,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thank you for support over there. If you'd like to, patreon.com/gay racing pod. Like and subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on socials at Gay Racing Pod, at Dreamy Zack Racing, and at Newgaden.
yep. We had a good episode today. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
fun. And next week, we have a lot to talk about next week with Talladega and Long Beach. IndyCar's finally back. So
yep.
subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss our episode on that. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. We will see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.